All right, we have a bunch of people waiting, and we are live in living color. This is the NAIAFBALL live show powered by AdCraft Custom Apparel and Merch. Guys, these guys are amazing. They are the real deal. Contact them at adcraftusa.com and on Twitter at AdCraft. There. Let's see, it is at AdCraft Print. I always forget that one, John. But we have John back this week after a couple weeks hiatus. Welcome back, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be back. It's the month of November. We're getting into playoff season. The temperature is cooling, but the great teams are heating up.
Absolutely. Let's go over some scores from around the nation last week. And you'll notice we have a little bit of a new format on the slide this week. Thank you so much to our intern.
Look at that. Holy cow.
I know. Thank you to our intern, Matt Schwartzler, who puts all this together. Did a great job this week. Southeastern comes out and pulls the upset over St. Thomas on Friday. Came down to the last 2 minutes of the game. It was just a back-and-forth affair there for the two South Florida squads.
Yeah, it had the old cliche game of who got the ball with the most efficient time left to do something with it. Shout out to Southeastern for really trending upwards late in the season when all we thought was lost in their season. And they really got punched in the mouth early, and they're battling back.
Absolutely. Just a great defensive game between both teams. I mean, St. Thomas is only 7 of 21 on 3rd and 4th down conversions, and Southeastern only has 20 rushing yards as a team on the entire game, and neither starting quarterback cracks 150 yards.
Corey, I believe in the Sun Division, we were looking at 4 teams with 1 loss in the division, correct? I think we have Southeastern that's beaten St. Thomas and Kaiser head-to-head. But then you have Ave Maria that beat Southeastern. I believe, double check me, but I believe it's a 4-way tie building up there.
So St. Thomas and Southeastern are leading by percentage points. So Southeastern is leading right now by percentage points. Mm-hmm. They've got 1 game in hand over Kaiser and Ave Maria. Kaiser and St. Thomas play an effective elimination game.
Correct.
This week, Ave Maria has already played. I think
they already beat Southeastern.
They already beat Southeastern. They lost to St. Thomas. Mm-hmm.
I believe Kaiser is still left on the schedule. I think Kaiser had St. Thomas and Ave Maria pretty close.
Yeah, so they play at Warner and versus Kaiser. So there will be an elimination game there as well. It'll work itself out.
It will.
But will it work itself out in time to make the top
I would say
20?
the Sun Division's in danger of not putting a team in.
Absolutely. Let's go a little bit further north here. We have a rank-on-rank. We have Bethel, Tennessee, falling to number 1 Lindsey Wilson, and what's probably Lindsey's closest game so far this season.
I think it says a lot about Bethel and, a lot about Lindsey too, but we expected them to put up the numbers. But I think it said a lot about Bethel to really hang in there and get a single-digit margin loss. I know there's no such thing as quality losses, but I think Bethel's good enough to hang with anybody.
I mean, look, Chalpe throws 4 picks in this game, and you're still
only
losing by 2 scores.
Lessons learned there.
Absolutely. And you only have 5 rushing yards as a team. Mm-hmm. You throw 4. I mean, look, if I tell Mike Jasper, your quarterback's going to throw 4 picks and you're only going to have 5 rushing yards, how big is that margin of loss going to be?
Right, and he's probably thinking 20 to 30.
Right, and to only lose by 11, there is no such thing as a moral victory. But that has to feel. That has to.
You got to be proud of your kids to hang in.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the one that kind of surprised me out in the Midwest is Northwestern DORDT.
You had Tyson that had the perfect game on offense almost. Mm-hmm. Just the worst storm that DORDT could have had, especially when they were a first down away last week to beat Morningside. Mm-hmm. So, DORDT won't make the playoffs this year. They had some high points in the season. But Northwestern is rearing their head for that finale against Morningside coming up.
Absolutely. I want to point out Connor McQuillan here. I know in the game against Morningside in the playoffs last year, he only got like 2 carries. He had 21 carries for $130. He was also Northwestern's leading receiver with, I think, 95 receiving yards and on 2 catches.
Wow.
Both going for touchdowns. You talk about Tyson Koima and Blake Fryer added in 2 for 2, so they were perfect on the day passing. But even on 3rd and 4th down conversions, you're talking about Northwestern being 11 of 12. Is this a Northwestern team that is putting the pieces together at the right time?
This is the first time we've seen Northwestern at full strength since Morningside in the spring.
It very much is.
Yeah.
Up in the Northwest, we had kind of a playoff game here for the North Star. We had Valley City State beating Waldorf 21-14, sweeping Waldorf this season in their head-to-heads.
Right, absolutely. Valley City State's trending in the right direction. The big thing is the Dickinson State game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've already
They
lost.
already
lost that one. So really, it was a chance for Waldorf to kind of show up and try to make some noise. And then Indiana Wesleyan. I mean, how much higher can this team go? They have made it through the gauntlet with a singular loss to Concordia.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm at 7-2 up there.
They lost to.
Did they beat Marion? I can't remember that far back.
Oh, they're 7-1.
They're 7-1. Okay.
We screwed up. They are 7-1, so they make it through the gauntlet with the singular loss to Concordia, only by 7 points.
Them and Marion's the face of the mid states this year.
Absolutely. Do you think
Indiana Wesleyan didn't they destroy Marion
they did
30
it was
40?
41-7.
Wow. Yeah.
Could Indiana Wesleyan get to host?
I think so.
I think it's a good possibility.
Who's their last game? Do you still have the schedule up?
I do not have the schedule up. I can pull it up real quick. They're done with their hard games. They're done with the gauntlet.
They have Taylor, which is a rivalry game, who's
Yes,
in the area, and then Madonna, who they're going to get 2 easy wins. So
I don't know about 2 easy wins. Taylor gave Marion some issues.
2 easy wins.
So, and then we have St. Xavier and Judson. St. Xavier pulls away late. Judson looked like they might have had a chance in this game early.
Judson's been scrappy all year in the mid-states.
Really
they came close to beating St. Francis of Indiana, and but I think this says a lot about St. Xavier that they faced a middle-of-the-road team and they took care of business.
6 of 6 in the red zone with 6 touchdowns. That is how you get a good win there. And then our final game up in the Northwest, Rocky Mountain falls to the zombie that is the Frontier Conference.
Right, absolutely. The Frontier always has upsets late, it feels like.
And this is just a really bad time.
Yeah. With how isolated you are in the Frontier,
And
it's tough.
It really is. Montana Tech held on to the ball for almost 50 minutes of game time.
Wow.
That's
hard to win.
The old adage is true.
Yeah.
You can't score if you don't have the ball.
Correct.
So, congratulations to them.
The Ore Diggers, right?
The Ore Diggers.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our friends over at Maumee Bay Turf Center, Turf Nation. They're the presenting sponsor of the St. Thomas University Stone Crab Dinner. One of the only things I love more than NAIA football, stone crabs.
I love some stone crabs. I'm lethal on a spoon with those guys.
Absolutely. So thank you to Maumee Bay. Let's talk about them a minute. They've got NFL playing surfaces and NFL practice surfaces. They've got St. Thomas's playing surface. They've got the University of Cincinnati's playing surface.
They are perfect for high school programs too.
Oh, they are.
In South Florida specifically.
Absolutely. And their ownership has a small college background. They know what it is. They can work with your budget. Even though they've worked with NFL teams, you get the NFL quality at a price that fits within your budget. And that is really a win-win situation for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
So thank you to Mommy Bay Turf Center and Turf Nation for sponsoring our Players of the Week. We actually have a different offensive Player of the Week this week. I know it's been the guy from Bluefield for the last couple weeks.
Right,
I mean,
putting
you know,
up
he's been
monster numbers.
tossing a bunch of dimes. But this week, we go down south to Faulkner with Navarre Solomon, 9 catches, 246, and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he really put a good win there for Reinhardt.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
it was hard to choose between him and Billy Hall. Billy threw for 6 touchdowns, but I mean, he with Navarre catching 4 of them.
Yeah, he was the go-to guy.
He really was. Defensively, we have Eastern Oregon's Sage DeLong here, who 11 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 6 sacks.
There's been NAIA teams that haven't gotten 6 sacks all season at some point in history.
This man,
Crushing it.
even in a loss, had
Right.
6 sacks and a pass breakup. He was all over creation. Congratulations to Sage DeLong. Let's talk about the top 25. Let's talk about it real quick. This is not the coaches poll.
Right.
This is not the coaches poll. This has no implications on the playoffs whatsoever.
It's not just us 2 voting.
Nope, we have 7 there.
So don't come after our blood if you do not agree with it.
Exactly. And John Perry says he was there. Solomon was 1 yard away from getting 5 touchdowns. Are you becoming a passing team? I hear that. I hear that. So let's start at the bottom. We have Rocky Mountain here, dropping to 6-2. They fall 10 spots after that loss there against Montana Tech.
Number 24, Southeastern, the Fire, Lakeland. They put themselves back in a position to maybe make the playoffs.
It's
it's absolutely insane because they've missed all those years finishing with 1 loss, and now with 3 losses, they might actually have a chance because they might win the division.
Absolutely. Tied for 22nd, we have Georgetown and Bethel. Here, Georgetown at 6-2, Bethel at 6-3. Georgetown reappears into the top 25 after a 42-3 win at Campbellsville. Honestly, though, I'm not sure if it's due to that win more or if it's due to the fact that we had a bunch of those kind of 15 through 25 teams lose and make some room.
Right, absolutely. And I will say I put Bethel a lot higher. And I know, people will question the 2 losses before Lindsey Wilson, but those guys can play with anyone.
Yeah, we've been waiting for like 3 years for Bethel to come through, and they really have. Central Methodist comes in at number 21. They are up 4 spots after coming in at the bottom at number 25 after a 41-7 win over Moval.
Yeah, the Heart's looking good.
Yeah, it is. I love seeing the parity down there below Grandview. You've got a couple teams there that are really making a run for it. At number 20, we've got Montana Western, who's also up 4 there from number 24 after dismantling MSU Northern 63-7. MSU Northern got their first Frontier win in Lord knows how long.
Good for them.
Last week. 19, St. Xavier. St. Xavier finally makes it up from 23 there after defeating Judson.
Number 18, we got St. Thomas. They took the loss to Southeastern, their first loss of the season. And, they got 1 game to make it right. 2 games to make it right.
Yeah.
2 games to make it right.
If you can beat
you better hope Southeastern loses 1.
Yeah, I guess you're right because they've got that tiebreaker. But I mean, if you beat Kaiser, that changes the game.
I agree.
At number 17 is Langston. Langston takes the loss to Louisiana College.
Yeah, they came into Louisiana during homecoming, and Louisiana, who has struggled all year, finally put it together.
Absolutely. thanks to the guys at Louisiana College that keep us
thank you,
well
guys.
informed. But Langston drops 4 spots.
Langston has a stellar defense, and they gave up a lot of points. They were off.
That is going to raise a really interesting question. Langston in the coaches poll is at number 18. Ottawa of Arizona is at 15.
Right.
You could theoretically see, because Langston has that head-to-head win over Ottawa of Arizona, you could see Langston go into the playoffs over a higher rated
as long as Langston stays top 20, they're automatically in.
Right, and you could easily foresee a situation where Ottawa doesn't get in.
Right, absolutely. Number 16, Dickinson State. I know on our side and the coach's side, we would love to see maybe a swap between Montana Western and Dickinson State, just due to the head-to-head. Head-to-head matters, Corey.
It really does.
We'd like to see that. Dickinson State, who took the early bumps in the season, I think they're on a 5-game winning streak after they lost to Montana Western and a Division II school, Black Hills.
That sounds about right
So,
to me.
they're going, and I don't think they should get knocked. Like, there's people that say, Dickinson State should be unranked. I don't believe that at all. I just wish Montana Western was above them. Just head-to-head matters.
Yeah, it does, but this is a different Dickinson State team, I think, than we saw early on in the season as well. At number 15, we've got Kaiser, who is still around that 12 to 15.
Which is crazy they didn't take the bump. But St. Thomas, if you're mad about that, you could end it yourself.
You can do it. You can finish them.
Yeah.
Look, Kaiser played the best game of their season last week.
Right.
That was the most Kaiser that I've seen Kaiser all year. 56-0 dismantling at Warner. That had to feel
Where's
good.
the coaches poll have Kaiser?
Kaiser is at 12 in the coaches poll.
Really?
Yep. So you're talking about a fringe top 10 team there.
All right.
Ottawa of Arizona at number 14. We talked about them in relationship to Langston. You could easily see Ottawa of Arizona missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're going to be. We'll get more on how the playoffs work probably next week. But Ottawa has to hope Langston maybe takes a loss.
Yeah,
somewhere.
You really
again.
do. At number 13, you've got College of Idaho, who is a very fortunate recipient of the loss that Rocky Mountain took. They need to write Rocky Mountain a very nice thank you card for that.
They should.
That is, the coaches poll is always bullish on College of Idaho, and so they might be the Frontiers' hope there. At number 12, we've got Southwestern.
Yeah, Southwestern on the KCAC. You got to think, last year they were on the bubble. They missed the playoffs.
Oh, that was Avila that was on the bubble.
Well, Southwestern was too.
They were a little further back than Avila.
But, they're taking care of business. I believe they have Bethel left.
I'm pretty sure you're right, because they've only got the one loss.
Yeah, so either one of them, I think they've already lost to Kansas Wesleyan, or maybe it's vice versa.
Yeah, no, Southwestern has lost to Kansas Wesleyan. They beat Avila, and so they do have the game left against Bethel.
That might be do or die. I think this will be the first year that KCAC gets 2 teams in.
No, they got it last year with Bethel and Kansas Wesleyan. No.
I think just Bethel.
No, you're right, as always. All right, and at number 11, we've got Concordia of Michigan beating Lawrence Tech 42-21.
Yeah, we got the Cardinals over there in Ann Arbor, probably the best team in Ann Arbor after Michigan took that loss.
You're not wrong.
But
You're not wrong.
Anyways, Concordia staying strong there. You got Indiana Wesleyan, Marion, and Concordia all looking to make the playoffs.
And they probably will.
All from the same division. Usually the mid-states gets 3 or 4.
That's pretty normal to see 3. At number 10, we've got Bethel of Kansas beating Tabor 49-21. Just a solid win for Bethel. They've got some interesting scheduling down the stretch. Let's take a look at that real quick. They beat Southwestern. So
that's right.
They have Southwestern left. So they play at St. Mary, and then they play at West Texas A&M.
Division II school, part of the Texas A&M curriculum.
In as far as the coaches are concerned, that could be a do-or-die game for Bethel, even though it's outside the NAIA.
It sucks that those Division II games end up hurting you, which they shouldn't.
but a loss is still a loss.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Loss is still a loss. That's really interesting scheduling there. So we'll see if that ends up hurting them. Marion comes in at number 9.
Yeah,
Marion
they
had
were
a bye
safe
week.
with a bye. Indiana Wesleyan.
Yeah.
We just talked about them earlier.
Yep, they defeated Siena Heights 27-10,
Yeah.
making it through relatively unscathed for the gauntlet.
Right. Reinhardt takes care of bottom of the barrel St. Andrews. Reinhardt did what they were supposed to do. They beat Faulkner. They pretty much wrapped up the division.
Effectively, yeah.
Yeah.
Baker comes in at number 6. They beat Benedictine in a
thriller.
close game.
Yeah, thriller. Yeah.
28-23. That was a really good game. And then the top 5 is the top 5, and that's the way it's been. Kansas Wesleyan, Grandview, Northwestern.
Only 5 teams left undefeated in the NAIA, and I think it's going to stay that way.
No, we will drop
Our
one
Northwestern Morningside, yeah.
Yep, we will drop.
We'll end up with 4.
We will drop one of them. We will be back with more NAIF ball show here in just a couple seconds.
Hello, this is Billy Hall from Reinhardt University, and you are listening to NAIAFBALL.
And we are back. Just taking a look at some of the comments here. Tyler Pierce asks, are Bethel for real other than that horrible soccer-ish look at our Bethel for real? Bethel of Tennessee, I think, is fairly for real. Bethel, Kansas is definitely for real. That flex bone is real.
Yeah, absolutely. They are clicking. We just got a comment just talking about, Jonathan Perry right here, not holding the Kennesaw State game, the loss against Reinhardt. I totally agree. They played tough that game. But we do hold against is the Bethel loss, which, like we said, Bethel can play against anyone. So that's why they're not in our top 5 where those undefeated teams are.
And then the final, Kansas Wesleyan still has to play Southwest.
There we go.
So
Thank you.
There's the KCAC matchup that we were looking at. And then Frank Dolanchek says 2 against 3. Well, that's as good of a segue as we can get into our games to watch, and that is our number 1 here on the games to watch.
Speaking of a Dolanchek, we're looking at Joe Dolanchek.
Absolutely.
We're looking to see if he can sling that ball around against Northwestern.
That may or may not be family.
I think it's pops.
I think it is.
But
pops.
listen, these two teams know each other. We've got to see Morningside live. You've got to see Northwestern live.
Yep.
So I feel like we know both these programs well. And history tells us that Northwestern has to play almost a perfect game and hope Morningside's a little off. Not saying anything against Northwestern, but that's just what history tells us. Northwestern plays. I know Northwestern won last year, but everything went perfect down there. They battled from behind, and, we're seeing the Northwestern team that ended that Morningside game. Last year, we saw them last week against DORDT.
We really did. I mean, it's the absolutely perfect time to see Tyson Koima come back. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better week to get. He's been working back for the last few weeks, and to see him take the majority of the snaps, take the majority of the throws, and go 13 for 13 and have a good number of rushing yards just in time for Morningside. Man, that offensive staff at Northwestern's got to be just licking their chops, ready to rock.
Absolutely. The next game, we got number 4 Grandview, the Vikings versus the Wildcats of Culver Stockton. Culver Stockton's a dangerous team.
It really
can throw the ball well, but like Like we said earlier, if we want to talk historically, Grandview's front seven has always caused Culver Stockton, just made them a mess here in recent history.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Woodley's team is fantastic. That's why they're number 4. In my personal poll, they're number 2. I just think that defense is just too nasty. I do like Grandview in this one. I do like Culver Stockton. I think they've got a really good team. They're 2 or 3 there in their Hart division, but I do think Grandview gets the win there. Do you want to go ahead and pick Morningside Northwestern, or do you want to leave that one for your
I'll leave it for my article.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and pick that one. I'm going to say that Morningside looks at last year it's not like they don't have Tyson Koima film.
Yeah.
And they know how they want to run it. I think Morningside wins that one.
Next one, number 6, Baker at Central Methodist. The last 2 years, Corey, just off the top of my head, Baker has embarrassed Central Methodist with the scores of 40-7, and then 2019, I believe it was like 41-14. Can Central Methodist, who has now cracked our top 25, can they? It's kind of like Indiana Wesleyan in the mid-states. Can they get, a marquee win?
Yeah, I mean, can they bite someone? This would be the perfect time to do it. I don't know with Marco Aganagua and the best running back to ever play in the NAIA,
Right.
statistically, J.D. Woods. Someone's I'm taking Morningside.
The next one, Kaiser St. Thomas elimination game. You lose, you're out.
Yep, absolutely.
That's all that has to be said about that. Let's move to the next one.
Yeah.
Texas Wesleyan are receiving votes in our poll. They've been impressive. They're going up against Central Arkansas. The funny thing is, the 2 things I know about Central Arkansas is, 1, they're in the FCS. 2, during that COVID season, they were the first college football game to kick off.
It's the first time I've ever watched
That's the
Central
only thing I
Arkansas.
know Central Arkansas.
Hey, and that's where Mike Norvell went to college.
That's right.
That's all we know.
Yeah, Texas Wesleyan, imagine the respect you could bring to your program, not only your program, but
To
the
the
Sooner
Sooner.
Athletic Conference that is looking for anything.
Absolutely. I do think Central Arkansas is probably going to be too much. I mean, 63 Scullies is a really big factor there.
Yeah, you're going 63 against 28.
Yeah. So, sorry, Roger.
Yeah,
Siena Heights is 4-4.
Yeah, no Marion Siena Heights.
No Marion Siena Heights this time. The Bluefield quarterback is a freshman.
Jonathan,
That's insane.
We just talked about that a little bit off air. That kid's he's worth going up to that West Virginia line maybe to go watch next year.
He's absurd. So before we get too far into it, I'm going to go ahead and pull the coaches poll up here just so we can kind of talk about a little bit of bracketology here.
I wish we could draw a line on
Oh,
that
I know,
tweet.
right?
So basically, guys, if you don't know, there's going to be 12 automatics.
12 automatics.
12 automatic bids. If you are in the top 20 and you have won your division or your conference, you are automatically in.
Let's do this.
And that's 12. Right now, it looks like 12 spots are going to be taken up, except maybe the Sun Division. If you're an at-large team, you're hoping that the Sun Division and the Sooner and the North Star go into chaos.
And the
That could-
Midwest.
Yeah.
The Mid-States
Midstates,
Midwest
Midwest.
could definitely. So let's talk about it. Lindsey Wilson's a lock at this point.
Right.
The winner of these two is a lock.
Yeah, they're a lock.
Heck, they're probably both locks anyway.
Right. I'd say Grandview's a lock. Yeah, Morningside, Northwestern's locks.
Yeah, Grandview's a lock. Baker.
They're a lock. They won.
Yeah,
their
I'm about to say
division.
even if they lose this
Okay.
week,
They won
are
their
they
division.
in?
I believe they won their division.
Kansas Wesleyan has.
This is going to be tough here because number one, if they lose to Southwestern, that creates a 3-way tie
And you
potentially.
could see Bethel sneaking up here.
Right, and because a lot of conferences default to the coaches poll
Yeah.
for the tiebreaker who gets in the playoffs.
So
All
I-
three can claim the conference crown.
Yeah, that's
But
the way
who
the
gets-
Mid-States is.
Who gets in the playoffs? It depends on the coaches poll.
So I don't think Kansas Wesleyan is a lock yet. Indiana Wesleyan is a lock at this point.
Them and Reinhardt.
Reinhardt's a lock at this point. Marion is a lock at this point. Concordia is a lock at this point.
I will say if Marion loses, Siena Heights are out.
Oh yeah, and they've had issues coming back with bye week.
Right.
Bethel may or may not. They're
Yeah, I would leave them unchecked for now.
I would leave them unchecked for now. Kaiser's got to win.
I'd leave them unchecked.
Can't read the list.
Southwestern.
Let me do this so we can have so folks can read the list. Let me switch to full screen. There we go. Thank you, Roger. Southwestern has to come up and bite someone. It has to come up and bite Kansas Wesleyan.
Right, absolutely. The KCAC teams are waiting. We know at least one of those teams are getting in. One of those teams are a lot. We just don't know.
Here's the big one here is St. Xavier. Now, they play in their last week of the season against St. Francis.
That could be up for a playoff spot.
If St. Francis wins this week against Roosevelt, they take a share
Yes.
of the Midwest.
Right.
Now,
But then they play St. Xavier later?
but
Is
then
that-
they play St.
yeah,
Xavier
so
later.
that would be
And then that would be a head-to-head
right.
winner take all. Now, could you see this putting them at number 21 here is a really big deal if you're St. Francis.
Right.
Because you could easily see if you do beat St. Xavier, that's not that far you've got to go.
Well, you just need one spot up.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's a really big deal if you're St. Francis to come into the poll.
I would say St. Francis controls their own destiny.
They do. Both they and St. Xavier both do. Ottawa does not.
Yeah, Ottawa currently does not control their own destiny. Langston does, even though they're
Langston
ranked
does.
behind.
Yep. They still have to play Segu and Arizona Christian.
I want to tweet
Two
this
tough
out.
games.
It's important.
And it's really interesting the way that you see this like 17 to 21 right here. I don't know if it's on purpose or not,
Right.
but these teams at 17 to 21 almost seem, and even Arizona Christian at 25, seem to be well primed.
Well, you need to look at the drop off of votes from 20 to 21. From 128 to 84. That's a huge
That is
drop
a
off.
very large drop off. I mean, so here's the thing. I don't know if it's on purpose or not,
Right.
but this kind of 17 to 21 grouping here is almost where the coaches are kind of putting some teams on reserve if they do well. If
Yeah.
they win out, they can make it into that top 20. Because if you win your division, you got to be in the top 20. Now, let's say there's no chaos. Our four teams that we're saying kind of your first four at large. It's going to be one of Northwestern and Morningside, whichever one loses. And then probably at this point, Marion and Concordia.
This is accurate, right?
If you win your conference, yes. If you win your conference or your division, and you have a top, and you're in the top 20, you're going. No questions asked. You are in the dance. You are on the dance floor. So that leaves our next team as Bethel, Kansas. Could you see a instance where Bethel loses to West Texas A&M and they put a team
That's what's going to be tough
like,
because no matter if the Kansas Wesleyan and Southwestern winner, I think they get put above Bethel if they don't win their Division II game.
Yeah, and so that could cost Bethel a playoff spot.
Right. Guys, they scheduled up.
Because they scheduled up. You could also theoretically maybe see it an instance where Ottawa gets a look there.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're an at-large contention, it's not about who's ranked the highest though. They get put in a pool correctly.
Yeah, so let's take a look at that. So Bethel, let's take a look at their thing because
At a minimum, 4 at-large teams are getting in, guys.
So you're 0-1 against the top 25. You're 1-1 against the top 25. So you're 1-1 against the top 25. You have no games against the. You're 1-0 against the top 15 because you won at Southwestern when they were at 15.
Right.
You have no top 10 because you haven't played them. Ottawa. And this is the things the coaches are
they're going to look at.
Nationals, the selection committee is looking at how you fared against teams in the top 15. Now, as we saw last year with DORDT, you can lose close to elite teams and still get in.
Get in, yeah, without good wins.
Ottawa has one top 25 loss, and
That's
that is
the Langston.
it. That is going to be killer.
Yeah, and they still need Langston to lose.
They still need Langston.
Who does Langston have left on their schedule?
Who is Langston? Oh, they have Arizona Christian and Segu,
which is tough games.
Which are tough
and if
games.
you lost to Louisiana, those two are not guaranteed games.
Absolutely, and they're both away.
Right.
Oh no, wait, sorry. They're at home.
Okay.
They're at home. I mean, Arizona Christian has killed playoff dreams before.
Right.
Segu has played spoiler before. All right. Who has the buzz for Offensive Player of the Year in the NAIA? Let's go ahead and grab this down. If y'all have any questions about the playoffs,
Well, I think it's a lock. It's Cameron Dukes.
I actually disagree.
Who are you going with?
The thing is that Cam Duke's defense has been far too good this year.
All right.
Cam Duke's defense has given him way too much. Let me pull up the stats.
Cam Dukes hasn't even played majority of his full games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, but think about it. The coaches are looking at the they're looking at the stats. They're not looking at that. I mean, you've got I honestly
remember to be considered for this award, you have to win your conference correctly.
Is it conference or is it division?
Division or conference.
I think that you could make a case for Nathan Hurstich from Bluefield.
Right. I think that's what's going to keep him away from it.
33 touchdowns through the air and 325 yards per game.
All right. I think that was a big reason why Charles Salary won it a few years ago.
Exactly. I could see Dolancheck winning it.
I can too.
I think he's got a.
But I think they're going to put in that Joe kind of stays in later in the games.
Well, I mean, but think about it. If you're looking at stats, Dolancheck's got 25 touchdowns and 326 yards a game.
Right.
And this is while having Anthony Sims in the background. You could see J.D. Woods having taken all of those rushing titles,
right?
All those rushing records. You could see him getting it. It's a really tough one to see. Defensively, I could see Jason Freeman, Cole Merlin.
And I think you have to remember, Corey, this award doesn't get decided until before the national championship game. Right. So a lot of what you do in the playoffs is if Dolancheck wins that Northwestern semifinal game, I think he wins it last year.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it really depends what they do in the playoffs.
It really does. And I think he could win it. I think you've got to show off in the playoffs. I think you've got to have a brilliant game against Northwestern. I think that's what definitely got Koima in the picture.
Yeah,
Last
absolutely.
year
It was playoffs.
was that playoff game against Northwestern. That's what made it a 2-horse race, because all year long it looked like Cameron Dukes and Joe Dolanchek.
Right.
So before we get too far down, we're gonna do my favorite part here, and we are gonna talk about our Patreons that keep us going. Run down the list here: Ace Wellen, Cordell, Austin Steele, Jody Hoagland, Jerry Quickle, Alex Garcia, Monty Mustang, Nathan, Ronnie Atkinson, Fred Christensen, Shirley LaBella, Jeremy Vobble, Trisha Prescott, Roger Meyer, Dylan Swears, David, Bob Boone, Cliff Kreisel, Darren, Brett Croshell, Danielle Quinn, DSU Cone, Ian Sweeney, Blake Sentman, Keith, Charlie Simmons, Marty Seabolt, Justin Cobb, Dane, Nick Bazell, Hayden Ferrigno, Steve Card, Marty McFly, Cam and Cam World, Cliff9/A, Hemerson, Art Kastner, Jeff, Kyle Gregory, Lance DeMont, and Jacob Smith.
Good job. We appreciate you guys. You are helping Cory when he goes to the national championship game. The year later, you're going to be helping both of us as
Yep.
I'm back in the national championship game.
This cat's going to
yeah,
Europe.
He's going on vacation. I'll be watching from my Airbnb.
Absolutely. So it's good. It's good to have you back.
Appreciate it.
It is good to have you back. I'm sure the folks at home agree. It's a much better show when both of us get to bounce off of each other.
Yeah, it's hard for anyone to do a one-man show. And I've
shows are
watched
hard.
the archives, and he did a great job.
I appreciate it, but it's going to be another great week of NAIA football. I'm so stoked for what we see, because we talked about 3 weeks ago being moving day,
Right.
and we're still.
This was a huge moving day this past week. It was hard for us voters with so much shakeup. And I think we're going to have more shakeup this week.
It's what I kind of feared coming into the season is sort of coming true. You're having teams that, because of having two compacted
The
seasons,
short turnaround, you're having teams kind of fall out a little bit.
and you're having a lot of injuries, and that's what I was afraid of was going to happen. But for John Cooper, I am Corey Thorpe, and we will see y'all on the Twitter feed.